how to conserve the natural resources while getting the benefit from the natural resource. That is a very critical area. We train the communities, we ensure that the community provide enough information, we generate information for the management of the natural resource in terms at the policy level, at the technical level, and of course from the farmer and the resource user perspective. We have a frame, which is farmer resilience and melon crop biodiversity. This looks very close to kind of climate smart crops because of the approach it takes. It also looks at the diversity of species that could be adopted, which can be used to respond to the impacts of climate change in the arid region. And we are aware that, especially for Namibia, the interactive effect of ecological fragility and of course the vulnerability of the community makes it more vulnerable, and it's important that we use this method in order to respond to the impacts of climate change. Fosrex, yeah, we are looking at integrating climate resilient crops into farming systems, and again we are trying to see how the farmer field schools using the farmer models on how best they can learn on the farm and try to adopt methods that would help that we can help to respond to the impact of climate change. And again, we use other models. We use climate projections from different projects within the Sasscal. So it is important that, again, the time they will be presenting, we take special interest to understand how we are responding to this. In terms of RIBs, we have rangeland through bush control and sustainable intensification. I think the executive director in the introductory remarks, he alluded to it when he was talking about trying to solve the problem of encroachment through the bush control mechanism using the solar-powered bush control equipment, and of course solar-powered machines to make bush feeds. So again, it is about livestock production and productivity in the arid region. Sustain, we are talking about sustainable food security and woodlands utilization, looking at how best we can use different approaches in order to respond to the impacts of climate change, using forestry and of course agriculture landscape. So in terms of TPEC, we are talking about projections in terms of climate projection, looking at the historical trends in terms of rainfall and temperature, using it to catapult our ideas to see how best the future looks like in terms of the project climate projections, in terms of rainfall, temperature, and of course the tipping points associated, the thresholds, which we call tipping points associated with the different livelihoods. They are looking at maize outside. I was also looking at the poster where they're talking about the sheep, cattle. What could be these tipping points or the threshold, which could not these animals tolerate? So WIRE is a very interesting project again. We are aware that we have to maximize the water harvesting so that in dry periods we take advantage of the harvest we are getting from the rains. So there is a sustainable water management regimes that are being developed, and of course the infrastructure are being advised on how best we can incorporate all these things in the project. So basically you see that Namibia takes a landscape approach, talks about fisheries, talks about forestry, talks about agriculture, all those livelihoods upon which our local community depends. And that is the approach Sasscal is taking. So, as I said much earlier, we have 5 institutions, 9 sub-projects, and of course, and most importantly, Namibia takes strategic leadership in RIBs, WIRE, and FRAME. That's where the Namibia gets the coordination. So, in terms of human capacity development, we have 2 institutions, I said it much earlier, and the students we have